episode 2 of SHOOCAST. I'm Kate, and don't know if it'll be the same on your screen, but bottom left is Ella, top left is Fran, and bottom right we have Paul Dodd from All Good Branding, who's going to be chatting to us about branding and marketing and all things. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Paul, and about what you do and who you are.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Paul Dodd. I'm from my company's called All Good. We've been going 17 years now, and we're branding specialists. So it is all good. You know, that's what we get asked all the time. Is it all good? Yeah, I hope it is. We call ourselves the brand and ideas people. So we primarily create brand stories, brand narratives, and the brand style, and then that translates into a whole host of ideas for marketing to get yourself out there. And three things I say is get noticed, get talked about, and be remembered. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
Yeah, wow.
So when you say you've got your three, get branded, get noticed, get talked about, how would you approach like the first step? Because I think for me, especially like going into graduation, beyond graduation, I want to like start a company. I want to like be self-employed. But I think the thing for me is, where do you start? Like, nobody knows who you are. How do you become like a big scale business and compete against the well-known competitors?
I mean, I started with no clients, no money, no idea really, no clue, just a massive bag of passion and enthusiasm. And if I went back now and told myself, I'd probably say don't do it. But I think that sort of naivety is really good, because if you knew what was ahead, you probably wouldn't do it. Yeah. It's really hard work, but I wouldn't do anything else. You know, I'm sort of unemployable now, I think. I won't get a job because I'd just be too disruptive, you know. So I think it's about having a real passion and a vision for it to start with, and knowing that you're the master of your own destiny. You know, you're responsible for absolutely everything. You know, there's no one to go to, there's no one to ask. You've got to be a real driving force behind yourself. So you've got to, you know, I was always the one to get up and get dressed and get ready, and I'd be on it. I'd be working, even though I was working from home, so, you know, 17 years ago. It's about kind of having that passion really. But over the years, I think, I mean, you obviously don't become big straight away, and we're not big in any sense of the word. But I heard a phrase once: get niche, get big, or get out. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it can be knowing who you are really and carving yourself out a position really in the marketplace. So getting known for something. Absolutely.
Getting known for something. Yeah, important in niching your brand and what department you're going to go in.
Yeah, because it's hard to get big, you know. Not many people make, you know. There's all these stats of, I used to sit in kind of networking meetings, and they'd say, like, look at the person next to you, and then look at the person that side. 1 in 3 businesses makes it. So if they're doing well, you're knackered.
That's such an awful thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, you're not doing it.
yeah. So, you know, it always created a lot of atmosphere and fun at the events, but so really to keep going, it's about consistency at the end of the day. There's no magic bullet at all. You've got to be consistent with what you're doing, with your message, with your story. But, you know, if you rewind back to the beginning bit, it's definitely about knowing who you are and where you want to take the company. You know, what do you want to be known for? Because, you know, people will sort of generalize and put you into buckets. You know, say if you do a brand for someone one time, that's it, you're the branding agency. They forget about all the other things you do, you know, or you do a social media campaign, or the next time you think about it, you'll be the social media people. Whereas, you know, we've all got multiple kind of services, and then a little bit further down the line, you'll speak to them and they'll say, oh, I didn't know you did that. And you realise they've gone to another company to do that other thing that you did. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to be really sort of consistent with your message and be that person who people say, oh, I thought of you straight away.
How have you found it working from home? Has it changed what you're doing a lot, or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think working in the creative industry, you collaborate a lot. You know, you sort of, I really miss that kind of collaboration and that kind of banter and team kind of. Just when you say, "Oh, come and have a look at this,"
Yeah.
You don't tend to do that over Zoom because you'd be Zooming all bloody day, you know. So you miss a real creative collaboration. Quite often our walls are adorned with all the research and graphics. So I just kind of sit there on the beanbag with a sketchbook, and I sort of miss that, you know. But I mean, I did work for Moon for 3 years when I started it up, so it wasn't totally alien to me. But yeah, sort of Zoom's okay, but
It's never the same, is it?
I miss people, you know, 3D actual people. I just miss being in office and having that kind of break between home and work, really. I mean,
We've all said that, actually. Sorry to interrupt you, go on.
All right, yeah. I mean, the team have done really well. We've all adapted, but I can't wait to get back.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get back. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say, Kate?
No, just that we've all said the same thing, that me and Fran haven't actually met Ella, because our entire Fran worked with Chris and Rachel for a bit in the module, but me and Ella have never actually met Chris or Rachel either.
I have.
Entire term at Shoes being remote.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
On with Ella really well and everything. So
yeah, fortunately.
So you might meet up one day.
Yeah, but it feels like we have, but we all work better as people. Like we've had a couple of meetings where I've like, it would just be so easy if I could just show you what I have in front of me and explain it.
Yeah.
Like, especially for me, I really miss being at uni because I just work so much better. Like you say, bouncing off people.
Yeah, there's a lot
able
of that.
To do things.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of that in an agency, and it's sort of overhearing stuff as well. You sort of miss that, you know. So if you're on the phone to a client and you sort of overhear them talking about something, you sort of pick up on what the vibe of that is, and you don't have to ask them. Whereas, you miss. There's a lot of stuff you do miss. So hopefully we can get back soon. Networking's key to a small business, particularly, you know, if you're, you know, a smaller more local business. If you're more of a digital kind of business, you know, obviously it's different and you need to build your networks online. But I think in today's world it's more about credibility and reviews. You know, if someone's going to review, make sure it's absolutely 5-star, because the bad word will spread a lot quicker. You know, so you've just got to do an amazing job each time. And also in some ways it's saying no to people, you know. Not everyone's a client, you know. It doesn't matter, even if you're struggling for business, if it doesn't seem right, if you get that feeling inside, more often than not, once you start the project, it'll turn into a nightmare. And so sometimes saying no to someone, it just kind of leaves that space for the next person to come along. And if you're active and you're networking and you're getting to know people, I mean, one of the things I say is you talk to people all the time about what you do, because when you get into the pub with your mates, how's business? Yeah, it's all right. And then that's it. Get on to the next thing. And, you know, about 7 years into the business, my sister said, Paul, do you do websites? And I was like, yeah, of course we do. And she's like, oh, my friend needs a website, and I didn't think of you. This is my sister, right? You know, you think, but actually you probably speak less to the people who are close to you about it, you know.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth is such a key thing. And then I was telling this story to someone, a speaking gig, and she got in touch with me a month after, and she went, it really struck a chord with you when you told me about telling people what you do. You know, tell everyone what you do, even if it's just kind of random people. She says, I kind of take my son to football every week, and there's this lady we get on well, but we never talked about work. I started talking to her about what I did, and she went, I'm invited in for one of the biggest tenders we've ever had. And that was just from one little conversation. And so yeah, and it happened again at a family party. This guy, do you know what, he sort of bounds over, a bit of an older guy, and he goes, Paul, you do computers and that, don't you? You do computers. And I'm like, well, we're not IT, but yeah, we use computers. And he was like, our company needed a website. And I was like, oh, brilliant, yeah, any chance I can meet him? He goes, oh no, I didn't think of you, someone else did it. And I've known him for years and years and years, but again, you never talk about what you do you? So you've just got to tell people, even if you think you're doing their head in.
In terms of, like, obviously, like we've been talking about, like being on Zoom and not having that real life interaction, how would you continue to network online and into the digital world and networking
Yeah.
How do you utilise that online?
Well, I've joined a couple of sort of groups who meet over Zoom once a week. There's a lot of people who've kind of moved all their meetings to Zoom. You know, I used to be part of BNI, which is a big networking organisation. They do everything by Zoom. LinkedIn's been great for staying.
We know about LinkedIn on our last episode. We were raving about LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the business Facebook now. It's
Yeah.
kind of, it's a real mix of people promoting what they do, but then, you know, putting a picture of them running with the dog. You know, it's kind of like some of the posts are a little bit, I need to know this stuff, but it's become fantastic for engagement. You know, I mean, I did a post 2 weeks ago. It's racking up into like 6,000 views. You know, I mean, it's very intense sort of personal post, because I had a brain hemorrhage 4 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was pretty intense time, and it was my 4-year anniversary of having the hemorrhage. So I put a picture of my brain on, which was all you can see, all the ventricles and, you know, this X-ray of my brain, and I just said, I'm still here, and just recounted the story a bit, and all those people got in touch, so they were crying their eyes out reading it. So it was a really personal post, but yeah, getting really good engagement on LinkedIn, and there's tons of networking things you can join. They've all had to go on Zoom, so yeah, that's kind of what everyone's doing, aren't they? Joining the early morning kind of networking groups. At least you can roll out of bed and jump on Zoom, whereas, you know, I used to have to get up at like 5:30 and go to a meeting for 6 o'clock. So yeah, there's definitely some perks. But I think once you've been going a while as well, sort of reconnecting with people that you maybe dealt with, you know, 10 years ago or 5 years ago who you haven't spoken to, and just say, do you fancy jumping on a Zoom and having a quick catch up? Because there'll be loads of stuff we do now that they didn't know about 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. So really kind of reconnecting with people, and you soon find out who your introducers are. You know, because there'll be certain people who just they won't introduce you to anyone, and there's other people who they keep flying in the introductions. They're obviously active networkers or something, and they just, I've got another company, and then they turn into a client, and another one turns into a client, and yeah, they're gold dust. Them look after them. They're like your VIPs. You know, I mean, I used to send cards to people. So one of our clients was a great introducer, and we got on quite well, starting going for pints and all that kind of stuff. And his daughter was she was like a budding young actress. She was at like a stage school, and she ended up being in like The Sound of Music and all this stuff. And she was only like 11, so she was took out of school to go touring. And I used to hear all about this, and you know, he's dead proud of her. And he just told me she was coming to the end of this tour, and so I sent her a card saying, and it was a big thank. It said on the front, it went, congratulations, stop being so awesome and making us all look terrible. And inside there was an iTunes voucher, and it said, because you've been listening to the sound of other music, here's a voucher for doing so well, and thanks to David for working with us. And do you know what? That went down an absolute storm. She ended up sending me a thank you card for it. We got into like some loop or something. But just having that kind of personal touch and doing something different, and it meant more to him than me buying him a bottle of champagne. You know, it's just thinking a little bit differently. And talk about thinking differently, it just reminded me of a story. When I first started, I was looking for a job rather than starting a business up. And there was this big company in Headingley that everyone wanted to work for. And I knew they'd probably got CVs through the door, like, you know, every week. And I thought, I need to do something kind of a bit different to stand out. And they were called Brahms. They ended up turning into Brass, and then I think they've gone under recently. But their strapline was Making Waves, and it was all over the site, Making Waves, and all of this thing. So I went and bought a surfboard, huge big surfboard, and then I designed this graffiti on it, and it said, you know, I'm sinking in my current role, I'm ready to make some waves. And it was all kind of like copy related to kind of surfing, and it just had my mobile number, and I just hand delivered it to Brahms offices and said, can you deliver that to Lee? And it was like huge, bigger than me, you know. And I obviously got the interview straight away, you know. He said, come in. And I knew someone who worked there, that's why I got his name. And they said it was by his desk for months. He said it absolutely. And the ending of the story is the first day of my business when I was lying in bed, no clients, didn't know what I was going to do. 9 o'clock, I got a call about 9:10, and it was from this Lee, and he said, because I didn't get the job because there's no opening, he just wanted to meet me. And the first morning he rang me and he said, "There's a job opening, do you want it?" And I went, "No." I said, I've just set up my own business and I'm going to go for it. And it was a real sliding doors kind of like moment, really. What if I'd have took that? But yeah, it definitely got me noticed.
Things like that scare me when you're like, what if I'd taken the job? What if I hadn't done this? I'm like, oh my God. No, panic.
I wouldn't be in this house because I met my wife through a work thing. So you can see the whole journey would have been completely different, you know.
I think that's how like doubt can hinder. If you don't go for it and just think I've got nothing to lose, then you'll never go for it, obviously.
What is it, do you think, that your agency specifically does that others don't, that's made you so successful? Is there a secret as such that
secret? I don't know. I don't know if there's a secret. I mean, a lot of branding agencies, we have a process called Brandology. I mean, people really kind of take to that. It's a great process developed over those 17 years. But I mean, other agencies have similar processes. You know, it's always a kind of strategy, a research, a kind of definition stage, and then you move into the branding later on. But I think with us, we have great copywriters in house. So from the start, I'm thinking sort of marketing led on the brand. You know, is this going to work? Is it on purpose? Is it got a story? So we're kind of writing that story into the brand. So that's definitely one of the things we do really well. And we kind of we're quite good at taking complex offerings and kind of condense them down into something that just sells quite easily and quite well, and something that people can kind of do an easy 30-second elevator pitch, you know. And we did it recently for a company, a very complex offering, but now it's been boiled down to its core thing. So I think it's that kind of distilling of a big brand into something that's just got like a concept and a theme, and something that can just go through the whole brand, whether it's on, because what I always say is you're always marketing. Absolutely, there's no magic bullet. It's about consistency. So, you know, it's the way you answer the phone, you know, it's what your answer phone message is, it's what your email banner says, it's what's on the bottom of your invoices, your choice of product names, you know, how long it takes to get a quote out, how you deal with complaints. Everything's kind of brand image. Like one of our clients, they put out this big piece about how they were a professional kind of print management company, and you know, everything about their brand. They spent a lot on the brand getting this image. And then I phoned up one time to talk to the manager. You know, I phoned up and they said, someone answered the phone, hello, you know, no like hello, welcome to, hello. And I was like, is XYZ there? No. I was like, are they going to be in soon? Don't know. Well, have you got their mobile number? No. I was like, well, can you tell them I called? Yeah, well, see you later. Didn't take my name, number, and I'm like, right, that's your customer-facing brand right there. You've spent all this money on this shiny website and this great rebrand, and that's the thing people are going to remember. So, you know, we talk about that kind of brand that extends into everything. Absolutely, even the thank you cards that you send to your clients. You know, it's
little details.
Yeah, it's the details, it's the touch points. And it's, just, there's no magic bullet. There's no magic bullet. You just got to do it every single time on every single job. So kind of systems and processes are key for that, really.
So obviously I want to get into marketing when I graduate, hopefully. Is there any tips for anyone that wants to get into marketing that you've got for us?
I suppose going back to that, you know, be different, stand out, really. You know, marketing and design and all that kind of world, it's a creative world. So often people send us stuff and it's not very well designed. I mean, that's, for a start, everything you got, your CV and your online presence should have a kind of style to it. But definitely do your research. You know, if you wanted to get into a company, do your research. The amount of times we get stuff through to whom it may concern, or sometimes they send us an email, everyone else is CC'd in on it, and just really very kind of like rookie mistakes, really, you know, and then they have to send an email saying, I'm really sorry, but all the other agencies are looking down the list to see who else. So just ring up and get the person's name and really personalise it to them. There's a phrase, I don't know if you've heard of it, I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you got to show them that they're the one for you. You know, if you're trying to get into a company, make sure, you know, and there's a fine line. Okay, you don't look like a stalker. I've heard of people going, you know, get in touch with someone, or I hope you enjoyed that holiday with your husband. And they're like,
no way.
It's a bit weird, that, isn't it? It's a bit weird, but you know, if you can kind of research the kind of stuff they're working on and make notes of the kind of projects or the latest blog they've done, it really helps out. And you know, I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care is definitely a great phrase to think. But yeah, be different and stand out, you know. And sometimes, you know, when everyone thinks alike, no one thinks much at all. So maybe bring something different to the team that they might not have got, particularly if they're small, you know, because you want different kind of people and different opinions, don't you? So, and all that kind of other stuff that you probably know. Make sure, you know, your accounts are private if it's got stuff you don't want them to see on there, because they will stalk you. They'll go looking for you. So make sure your kind of online presence is the one you want them to see, you know, which you probably know all that stuff. But another phrase that comes to mind is interested people are interesting people. So just ask loads of questions, get under their skin, show them that you actually want this and you've not just sent a CV out to 50 people hoping one of them will take you up. You know, be a sniper rather than an inventory man who's just shooting willy-nilly. You know, choose one target and really go after it, and if you don't get it, move on to the next one. But definitely do your research. And they always say sales is a transfer of enthusiasm, so you're selling yourself, so you know, transfer that enthusiasm. Make sure they kind of know how much you want it, really. Does that answer your question, Fran?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's been really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, were you thinking just in terms of the industry or sort of that specific going for a job type of thing?
Yeah, no, that is it really, because obviously I graduate in June, and I just don't know what next steps. I know I can apply for loads of jobs on Indeed, but like you said, that's just, you need to stand out. So yeah, really helpful. Thank you.
Well, I mean, send a surfboard if you can. You know, I've seen, do a bit of research on it. I've seen other people where they've got a job and they've printed their CV on a T-shirt and they've sent a picture of them wearing this, you know, and then they'll send the shirt in afterwards. There's stories of people who've hired billboards, you know, with a picture on it, and there's some actual crazy stuff you can do. So if you want to stand out, you know, get your thinking cap on, but definitely kind of sniper approach. Show them how much you want it. If we've ever won a kind of tender or a pitch, they'll just say to us, you know what, your ideas are great, but you just really wanted it. We could see you really wanted it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like your tips have helped me so much.
Are they? Oh, good.
Yeah, because it's something that I want to go into, like marketing, or like I said earlier, making my own brand. So I feel like your tips have been like invaluable. And I'm definitely going to use it, especially having passion and consistency and things like that, and having a niche, being outside the box, having a bit of flair. So I think it'll be helpful to a lot of people as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always remember, right, stories sell and facts tell. So just weave stories into anything you do.
There's so many good quotes in this.
I know. I'm going to write them all down.
You'll see them on the Shoe Instagram. We'll be quoting you left and right.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you for watching this episode. I hope it's been useful for you. It has for us anyway. And we'll see you on the next one. We're going to be talking about how to make a podcast with one of our Shoe Academy team members, Florence.